Hey, welcome. Eric Arnold here in the Sports Barn, Wednesday, June 8th. We've got two MLB picks for you here this morning. What is going on? Did I comb my hair? Yeah, I do own a comb. There we go. Now let's just keep going. Battery's about to die. We won our game last night with Alek Manoah, so keep the good vibes going here in the barn. We asked a trivia question to our 6 viewers, and our panel of 6 viewers did not know the answer. To paraphrase Gunnery Sergeant Hartman from Full Metal Jacket, none of you dumbasses know. Big Six is my name, or my new name, for Alek Manoah, who just does nothing but win, and he needs a nickname. Well, Big Six is the nickname of Christy Mathewson, only one of the greatest pitchers in the history of baseball. That's your answer. And it's not his number either. Back in those days, generally nobody wore numbers. I don't think anyone wore numbers until the mid-20s, I think. I believe the New York Yankees were the first ones to begin doing that sort of thing. And then Big Six was a fire engine, was a New York fire engine. That is what he's named for. In other words, I guess the good citizens of New York were used to their houses just burning to the ground anytime it caught on fire. So this magical new invention called a fire engine that could put out the fire, well, that was pretty cool, I guess. So Christy Mathewson, if you got guys on base or whatnot and their game's on fire, poof, he puts it out. So he was Big Six, named after the fire engine in New York City. Now you learned something. So for our purposes, Alek Manoah will be Big Six, the 21st century version of Big Six. Political point here. We'll make a political point because I can't help myself. This is just one of these stories that I just exploded in front of me, and it's just so juicy I can't help myself. I like to keep saying here in the barn that reality is undefeated. In other words, our educational system, academia, keeps churning out all these woke robots that are indoctrinated with Marxism, communism, whatever, and they think that system of government and societal control is great until reality punches them in the face. And then we have half a chance in that they either get mugged or something happens to them where they go, wait a minute, my fellow man isn't all sunshine and roses. And what happened? And then if any of them have 2 brain cells to rub together or have any bit of common sense, we got a chance maybe to turn that person into a conservative. So last night was the primary elections in a number of states throughout the country, one of which being California. You can file this story under Democrat on Democrat politics because that's all it's in California. It's just Democrats. So we in the rest of the country have made fun of San Francisco here for the past couple of years because they've totally given up on prosecuting crime. There is no crime. I mean, if we don't arrest anybody, then it's not a crime, is it? So we all know you could go into a CVS in San Francisco, and as long as you steal less than $1,000 worth of stuff, they don't prosecute you. You can take a shit on the sidewalk, and they don't prosecute you. You can do any number of things, and they won't prosecute you. So it's basically become just a complete free-for-all out there, which is what they wanted. Well, apparently, maybe it's not what they wanted. Their local DA is a man named Chesa Boudin. Chesa Boudin. He's about a 41-year-old man. That's a man's name, by the way. This is who this guy is. This is who they elected in, 2019? This is from his Wikipedia page. And as we know, Wikipedia is run by leftists. So these are leftists describing this guy. This is not Newt Gingrich writing this. This is written by his fellow leftist. Let's see. Here we go. Early life and childhood. His parents were Chesa Boudin and David Gilbert, both Weather Underground members. The Weather Underground, that's a domestic terrorist, literally a domestic terrorist organization that killed people. Revolutionary, communist, progressives, Marxists, whatever you want to call them. When Boudin was 14 months old, both were arrested and convicted of murder for their role as getaway drivers in the Brinks robbery in 1981 in Rockland County, New York. His mother was sentenced to 20 years to life. His father got 75 years to life for the felony murders of 2 police officers and a security guard. So apparently 3 people got killed in this 1981 Brinks robbery by the Weather Underground, and they got caught. And so now his parents got sentenced to 20 to life and 75 to life. Then he was raised by his adoptive parents, Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dome, both also Weather Underground members. He didn't even get adopted by, this poor kid had no chance, really. I mean, we should feel sorry for this guy. He was indoctrinated from the word go. So now he's being raised by Ayers and Dome, hardcore progressive commies. And let's see, his mother was released in 2003. His father was released just this past year. Apparently 75 to life doesn't mean what it used to. So this is who this guy is. He went down before law school, went to Venezuela to be a translator for Hugo Chavez, because that's what we all want to do when we leave college, right? We want to go party. We want to go get laid. We want to go be a translator for a communist dictator. Well, this is the guy that they put in there as the district attorney, who, kudos to him. I mean, I guess in San Francisco, you can just be who you are. In other words, I'm a hardcore commie. I don't have to pretend. I don't want to prosecute crime. I want to defund the police. I don't want to do anything like that. We're only going to prosecute Republicans if we can find any. If we can't find any, I guess we won't do anything. And that's what he's been doing for the past 2 years, nothing. Well, apparently, the Democrats in San Francisco, which I mean by that, the population, that's all it is there, Democrats, they don't like this, apparently. They actually don't like people shitting on the sidewalk. They don't like people just smash and grab and stealing and no prosecutions. So they recalled this guy. Recall, that means you get enough petitions together saying you're not doing your job, and you get enough of these together, then you end up on the ballot as a ballot question. Should we keep this guy or should we not keep this guy? It's kind of a version of the European no confidence vote. So no confidence in Chesa Boudin, and he was kicked out last night. 60 to 40. It wasn't close. It was not close. So I found that interesting, that there is some limit, apparently, to what Democrats will tolerate. Perhaps they don't believe their own bullshit that defunding the police is a good thing. Now this is Democrat people, Democrat voters. And I would argue that my moderate Democrat friends out there, that's you. In other words, do you really want to defund the cops? Is that what you really want? Because that's what your leadership does want. They do want that. They believe in that sort of thing. And this loss notwithstanding, they're still for that sort of thing. So, apparently now, maybe defunding the police isn't as popular as we've been told it is by the media. So Chesa Boudin kicked out of office in San Francisco. I'm sure they'll find some slightly less commie to stick in there, and they'll go on as is. All right, 2 picks. Let's get to them. we're taking the Mariners. We're going to come right back with them on Wednesday. We won with them on Monday. Watched the highlight video last night. Very close game. Could have gone either way. So far, really, these games, the Mariners and the Astros this year, have been very close. The two teams are playing very close. Now, I think when push comes to shove, the Astros are clearly the better team. But I think we have an edge here today because we got Logan Gilbert going. He's a good pitcher, good young pitcher for the Mariners. Their number one pick from a few years ago. He gets deep into games. He throws his 100 pitches, if not a little more. We like those kind of guys. He gives you a good chance to win every time he goes out there. I think he's definitely superior to Jose Urquidy, our opponent. And this looks to me to be basically an even game, and we're getting paid to play the Mariners, so I think that's where the value is. So we'll take the Mariners. And then we're going to go with the Rays. Interesting game last night in Tampa. Very well played game. Good defense, good base running. A lot of small ball being played. Went back and forth. One thing I noted was that the Cardinals had a lot of fans down there. It was basically noise-wise a home crowd for the Cardinals. And it's almost counterintuitive. In other words, we all know nobody goes to those games in Tampa. They are notoriously poorly attended. And when people do go to those games, sometimes, if not half the time, they're rooting for the other team. So you wonder, why on earth would anyone want to bet Tampa at home? Tampa at home is one of the best bets going. Tampa is a really good home team. And the way I would explain that, couple things. It's a weirdo dome down there. It's hard to see, especially when the ball gets up in the air. I think it's hard to pick up the pitcher if you're not used to the place. So I think right there, that's your home field there. I think the home team, if the home team was bad, I think having the other team's fans in the building would hurt, and we couldn't help. But they're not bad. That's a good team Tampa has. I think it motivates them. You know, I think it motivates them to be like, let's shut these fucking people up. You know, this is supposed to be our building, and we actually do have a pretty good record here. Let's stick it to these bastards that are coming into our house and rooting against us. Fuck them. So I think it motivates the Rays when you get these kind of away fans in there. The numbers bear it out. The Rays are tough to beat at home, despite the fact that no one ever goes to the game and roots for them. It's weird. It's weird. And also why we won them today, they won in dramatic fashion at the end of the game on the last pitch, on the last out, 3-run home run by Taylor Walls. Taylor Walls, of all people, with the dramatic 3-run home run to put the Rays in the winning circle. And it's hard to come back. You know, you have one of those dramatic losses like that if you're the Cardinals. I would expect the Rays to just come right back now with some momentum and win again. So that's what we're playing there. So that's it. Those are only 2 games we could get. You know, there were some others that looked, you know, the Cubs looked pretty good, but I'll be damned if I want to lay odds with Marcus Stroman. I certainly don't want to do that. And then we were kind of looking at the Red Sox. We were looking at the Braves, but that price is pretty high. Phillies, but then that's a pretty steep price with Aaron Nola. The Phillies are on the road favored. That's still a bad team. So we're just going to stick with these 2 picks here. So we got the Mariners, the Rays. There you have it. That's all we got for you. So thanks for being here, Eric Arnold. We'll have more videos for you later. I'm signing off.